Hey guys, I know it's Tuesday, but we are here for a new video that's going to be coming out every Tuesday, and it's called Forgotten 5 Tuesday. So we take 5 projects that we've forgotten about, haven't finished, or just kind of left behind, and they're mostly small projects, and we're going to be doing those all in one video. So here I'm taking 2 like kind of decorative wall plaques, and I'm mixing up some chiffon cream and some baking soda, and I'm gonna paint these, and I think it took probably about 3 coats. It took me a while to kind of get them all through, since it kind of had a lot of detail in there. So once that dried, I'm gonna take my wax and some water, and this is antiquing wax, and I'm just gonna go over it, and I'm just making sure that first I'm putting on a light coat, and then I kind of go back over and darken the areas that I want to kind of make darker. So here's the other plaque, and I'm just kind of going through and darkening those areas and lightening. So you've seen me do this 100 times, where I put it on and wipe it back, and that's basically all for that. So then I just grab my gilding wax, and I'm just skimming over kind of like the corners of it. I'm not really doing anything heavy, and you can hardly even see it unless you kind of look at it from an angle, and you'll see a sheen on it, but I didn't go heavy-handed on this at all. So then I grab my clear DIY wax, and I'm just going to put a coating on this. This is just kind of blend everything together and kind of soften that color around and stuff, so it just looks a little bit smoother and not so rough. So I put a coat over the top, and then I just take a paper towel, and I'm just kind of buffing it in and making sure that I don't have any globs sticking out anywhere. So, and that's what they look like finished. Don't leave till the end of the video, because at the very end I show you how I style everything through. So now we're moving on to project 2, and this is a little tin that I started painting, and I was kind of like wondering what I should do with it, but I have these little tiny caps or whatever, little feet, so I decided to put some little feet on there. And all I did was take those, because they're like a natural wood, and I just used the wax and water combination that I mixed up earlier, and I'm just going over those and letting them sit for a little bit, just so that they can kind of get a little bit darker in color, and then I'm wiping that back with a paper towel. So once I get those done, I kind of look at my tin and realize that I want it a little bit darker, so I kind of went back over with that wax and made it a little bit darker. I grabbed my clear Gorilla Glue, and I just stuck those feet on there. The reason why I use the clear is just because it just, to me, seems like it sticks quicker. I don't have to worry about them sliding around. So that's what this turned out to be, and I painted it originally with the chiffon cream and a baking soda combination. So if you're looking to do that. So project 3 is just a little like kind of porcelain little frame, and I grabbed my chiffon cream and my baking soda that I mixed up earlier, and just use that. I didn't glob it out a whole lot, only because I didn't want to lose that detail, that little raised detail. So I added a little bit more because it was kind of watered down some, so I just wanted a little bit of texture, but not a whole lot, because I didn't want to lose, like I said, that raised embossing that's on the frame. So it's a cute little frame, it just didn't really go with my style that much. So once I did about 2 coats on that and let it dry, I grabbed the wax and water and went over the frame. Sorry, I lost my footage of that, but then I just took my gilding wax and I skimmed over those raised embossings that were there, and I grabbed a random transfer that I had laying around and decided to just put that on the glass that was there, and that just made a cute little picture in there. So on to project 4. I had purchased this a while back, and I wasn't really sure if it was gonna fit or what I was gonna do with it. So I just decided to paint it, and give it kind of like a neutral background type, and then see where my brain took me. So once I got it painted, I took off the ribbon with my heat gun to kind of melt that glue that was on there and scrape that off, and then I went over it with that chiffon cream and baking soda combo again, and so I just did about 3 coats on that just to get everything covered, and then I grabbed some of my IOD transfers and I put some transfers on there, and I think it kind of made it look a little bit not so country, you know. So, and then I added a little ribbon to the big cow on the bottom, and that was it. I just thought it was so cute. So that was it for that one. Project 5 is this really strange little hand painted cutting board, it looks like, or a wall piece. So I painted that with some Apothecary from DIY, and it took me about 3 coats just to cover this. I didn't spray this with anything before I started painting it. I was just waiting to see if it looked like it had a coating on it already, like a sealant, so I just didn't bother to do it. So, but I didn't have anything really coming through on it, so I just did my coats on there. In between the coats, I used my heat gun, which works really well to dry this faster, just so that I could get through it quicker without having to wait for a really long time to dry in between there. So once I got that to the coverage that I wanted, I grabbed some more IOD transfers, and I just kind of looked through to see what, I wasn't really sure which direction I was going to go with this, but I just started kind of going through and saying, I knew I wanted to put flowers on there, I just didn't know if I wanted to go more country or French or something. So I picked out some flowers and got those out, and then I grabbed my vintage linen with the DIY paint, and I started painting this little pail that I had from the dollar store that had been laying around. So I did several coats on this just to kind of get it covered, and use my heat gun again to kind of dry those layers out. So once I got those dried, I went through and I wet distressed, not a whole bunch, but just enough to make it look a little bit rustic. And so I'm just wet distressing there, nothing major. You can do as little or as much as you want. I didn't do as much as I normally do because I didn't want to have a whole lot of that tin showing through. So I just wanted to kind of highlighted those raised wording. So after that was dry, I grabbed my wax and water combo, and I just went over it very lightly, and basically it was just to kind of take down that new white look. I just wanted to kind of bring that back so it didn't look so stark. So once I set that aside to dry, I grabbed my transfers that I decided on, and I just am kind of arranging here to see how I wanted. So I started to put those on, and you see here I'm kind of cutting slits in that, and that helps me get those to go around the corners of stuff easier instead of trying to fight that whole paper through. It just seems like they lay down a little bit better, easier. So I grabbed a butterfly from the same transfer set and put that on, and that was it for that. Once I got all those set, I did take it out and I put a clear matte coat on there. So once that was dry, I brought it back in, and I got my antiquing wax and water combo again, and I just went through it, and this is the same thing that I did with the pail. I just wanted to kind of bring it back from looking so new, so that it didn't look so stark, fresh, new. So I decided to take my heat gun and kind of dry everything quickly, because my plan was to actually attach this bucket to the board. So I grabbed my big bite and I punched holes in the tin. I did 3 holes because I just wanted to make sure that it stayed, and then I grabbed This is really, it's a really strong punch. It went through that tin with no problem whatsoever. So you can see the 3 holes there, and I just marked that with my pencil so I can pre-drill some holes there in the board. And it was at a weird angle because, you know, the drill is big and it can't fit in that little space, but I was able to get those screws in. And then I just took some of that white paint and went and covered those screws, and then went over those with the antique wax so it all blended in. And here's how that turned out. So thank you for watching, and I appreciate you spending the time with me. And don't forget, we'll be back every Tuesday and every Friday, and here are the pictures on how I styled these items. We'll see you Friday.